But dude, let's talk about some nerd news, man. Let's
Yeah.
jump
Do you want me
into
to?
this.
Do you want me to take the two gaming pieces and then you can take the other two?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Some great gaming news as well. So, the biggest news of the day on Tuesday, May 12th, was that the next installment in the long-running historical action-adventure series will be called Assassin's Creed Syndicate. So, Ubisoft did a live stream. We learned a lot more details about it. So, quick summary of a few things. So, set in London in 1868, the game features two playable protagonists, twins Jacob and Evie Fry. So, according to Ubisoft, Jacob is, quote, more hot-headed, brash, and rebellious figure, while his sister Evie is described as a relentless assassin and a master of stealth. So that was that. I mean, they showed us a lot of a lot of the stream that was developer diaries from Ubisoft Quebec, who is now developing the latest installment. The setting, I think Charles Darwin and Charles Dickens both appear. So it continues on their long-standing tradition of bringing in high-profile historical figures. And obviously it's set when the Industrial Revolution reached its climax. But, Chris, what do you think?
Dude,
you watched the stream?
I did watch the entire stream, and I gotta be honest, this summation of all the news is more interesting than what they showed. Because, seriously, it was super underwhelming. Syndicate, I mean, I gotta give them credit in the reveal. They began by kind of apologizing for Unity, essentially, and saying that they take stuff like that seriously and that, they definitely want to do better on Syndicate. And then they proceeded to show the game off. All of it was pre-alpha footage, which I thought was
footage.
Yeah, which I thought was commendable that they're pointing that out. And that they're telling us, trust us, we know this might look like shit, but we're working on it. And, dude, at one point, I actually thought, man, they might release it next year. That'd be so cool if they did that. Give themselves extra time. And, no, at the end of it, October 23rd, it's coming out. And I was like, oh, why are you guys doing that to yourself? Take a year off, man. Relax, let your hair down. Let the game breathe out all the shit that people inhaled last year.
Do you know what the worst part is?
What?
As soon as the reveal was done, on Assassin's Creed website, the Season Pass was live, the Collector's Edition was live.
Oh my god.
And half the other shit was live, and I was like, did you not learn lessons from last year?
Yeah, wow. That's pathetic. Yeah, that's... The problem is, dude, you could tell they know people are upset about things, because if they know about the reviews, which every developer's going to know about that, they know about the complaints people are making with the Season Pass thing. So... As a publisher, I think Ubisoft doesn't quite get it. I think the developers are trying. I really do think they are. You could tell, in the video, that they love what they... No one ever wants to release a bad game. No one. I don't think anyone ever says, hey, let's make a bad game, unless that's their deliberate, unless it's tongue-in-cheek, they're meaning to do it. I think as a publisher, though, Ubisoft is just... They don't get it. They still don't get it. I'm honestly, dude, this is the first Assassin's Creed where I'm not, I'm buying that. You know what I mean? This is something that I would rather wait for reviews and see what people say about it. And if it gets crap reviews, maybe I'll pick it up if it's on sale or something. But honestly, I'm not really digging it at all.
Yeah. I mean, I'll give you my kind of thing. I watched it. I was intrigued with it and certain ideas. They capture the historical side very well again. You even see the Indian guy that's speaking with Jacob Fry in the pre-alpha footage, kind of that British Empire influence is still there.
Yeah.
And I love how they're kind of doing this, he is the champion of the poor, Jacob. It kind of carries up that French Revolution side from Unity. There's a kind of class division, and there's still, a big kind of fighting in there. Problems, the other thing that I really like is the fact that he has a smaller sword, and they kind of explain that. His dagger.
Yeah.
And they're he's not going to walk around with a sword because he's obviously going to get spotted. Right. I'm like, thank God for that. It makes a lot more sense. You kind of think about it a bit more logically. And even his revolver was cool. I was expecting him to be like, I've been waiting for you, Solid Snake. I watched it. There's a really funny part. When he throws a knife at that guy's face, a throwing knife.
Yeah.
Two of those guys just stand there, in the bystanders. It's like, oh yeah, that guy got a knife in his face. Doesn't matter. We'll just keep rolling along with it. I think the fact that they were trying to sell the fact that you can race in carriages wasn't really revolutionary.
Yeah.
And trying to be like GTA, and it was like, I don't really want to race in carriages. It's not the point of Assassin's Creed. There's no multiplayer in the game.
Yeah,
which kind of says everything.
Thank God for that. Jesus.
Yeah. I hope they've learnt the lessons from co-op last year, because that was fucking god-awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really wasn't that impressive. Like, the setting is what's intriguing me most, and I really love the fact that they're in London. I'm not really sold on it. I like how Evie Fry is now a thing as a playable protagonist after the rebellion that happened last year.
Yeah.
About a lack of female character in there. And even then, she's still kind of side character, even if you look at the front cover.
Yeah.
She's on the right-hand side.
That bothered me a lot, because they're saying the two... It's like the male and female shepherd thing all over again.
Well, and like Elizabeth and Booker, where Elizabeth's on the back cover.
Oh,
and Booker's
yeah.
on the front.
Despite both of them being... Yeah. I mean...
Equally as important.
For that, I mean, I could understand that to a degree, because they're trying to make it look like an action-oriented game. You know, and like Booker is the character you play, not counting the DLC. But yeah, I think it's horseshit overall, though, dude.
Isn't it funny how it juxtaposes The Last of Us, which has Ellie on the front cover?
Yeah.
With Joe?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. They did that. So that's kind of like, you know. But what is it? They made Joel bigger on the cover or something. Remember?
Well, she is small. She is 14 years old. I mean,
yeah.
If she was bigger than Joe, I'd be raising some big questions. Pun intended.
Yeah, like Joel. Big questions, eh? But in this case, dude, I mean, I understand where they're coming from. It would have looked ridiculous to have both of the characters like doing that Assassin's Creed pose next to each other. It would have looked like that Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson cover, that song they collaborated. It would have looked like that.
Well, I mean, like, that cover could have been even better if they would have had her, like, behind him in the shadows, like, you know, if they faded her character. Mm-hmm. And, like, just made it a bit more darker. It would have made more sense.
I mean...
But I just don't want...
Yeah, a lot more sense than on this cover. That's for damn sure.
His cane's cool. A little bit like Lucius Malfoy.
Maybe you'll have your own Dobby in the game.
And Draco in there as well. Little Draco.
Like, all Britons get offended by this. Like, are you telling me just because it's set in London you have to have fucking Malfoy in it? And fucking this guy... They're like, oh, yes, you know, authentic experience.
My best thing was, though, when I was watching the stream, I was like... Thank God a French couple hasn't fallen from the sky, because that would be absolutely hilarious.
Dude, actually I thought about you and I started laughing. What was it? Remember the joke we made? Like, why is it in Unity everyone's British despite them being in France? And then you said, well, maybe for the next game they'll all be in London and they'll all speak French. I swear to God, I was waiting to hear someone speak French. I was like, they're going to say, aren't they? They're going to be French. And, you know, they were... as they should be, given the country.
Like, je suis Jacob.
Yeah, like full-on French, not French accent, just like full-on French.
Let everyone, like, their numbers completely dwindle. They're going from 22,000 people watching to 10. Those 10 people are French who are confused by what's going on.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I really wasn't that impressed. It really looks like a cluster mess. It was just literally pre-rendered footage, in-engine footage, pre-alpha. They were literally labeling it. And the thing is, though, I said this to Chris off podcast, is that Ubisoft is now the company where I always look at the corner of the screen and see where it says pre-alpha footage or pre-rendered footage or something along those lines, because they just have given me that suspicion. Watch Dogs was the same footage that was built on an engine and looked nothing like that. And then I said, like, oh, would you imagine Kojima doing stuff like that? You just give you a cutscene or like an actual in-game footage. And then, I mean, I'm not sold on it. Not at all. I think this could be the end of Assassin's Creed after this. Because I don't think it's selling as big as it is.
I mean, it's the first... Dude, I bought every Assassin's Creed game since 2007. Same. This is like... Yeah, this is the first time I'm like, I'm gonna wait and see what happens. I mean, look, if at E3 they blow me away, if at E3, like, they give a better presentation, they show more finalized footage, I doubt in a month they could do that. But if they kind of, like, blow me away and show more stuff... You know, I'll consider maybe, you know, purchasing it or keeping a closer eye on it. But, yeah, this reveal, I think they kind of overhyped it a little bit. I think just releasing information would have sufficed. I think the only reason they did the live broadcast was damage control for Unity. That's my opinion on it. If Unity had not been as big of a mess up as it was, they wouldn't have done a live thing.
Yeah, I mean, they've been doing their fiscal reports as well this year, today.
Oh,
and they
right.
kind of, like, putting a lot of stuff out on that and crap, like, kind of damage controlling here and there.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just this kind of idea with Assassin's Creed that they should have literally gone into the board team Quebec and gone literally back from the beginning. Like, just how we started from a new podcast to a new one. We always laid a foundation. What's better? What can we do? This, and that. And the same with Unity. Like, Elise was one of the most interesting characters in that game, and they underutilized her.
Mm.
And then Evie looks like a promising character. Yeah, I bet you'll underutilize her again. Just switch. I mean, that would be a big factor if they changed the protagonist just to a female one.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause it makes it sound like you're trying to change the direction of a game and you're kind of pushing forward a new image. Why don't you just make it, Evie as the main protagonist and get rid of Jacob? It could have just been one character.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet you that's why Ubisoft were like, we need to keep the male protagonist and just introduce her as a twins, as they are.
Yeah, no, I see where you're going. I mean, dude, I hope that they don't do that. Like, I always have hope for people. I never, like, condemn something or anything like that until after I've seen it. But, dude, you know what, man? I mean, I didn't finish Unity. You did. I got so
I didn't finish
pissed.
the expansion as well. Fuck me.
Yeah, dude, I didn't. The expansion I gave 1 second of time to, and I turned it off. And the game itself, I just didn't care. So that's why I'm going in this a little bit, like, light-footed and stuff. And I don't know. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But dude, do you want to go ahead and continue our quest and take the next one?
Yeah, so moving away from shit, got better news there.
That's another way of putting it. Yeah.
Sorry. So yeah, bit more of an interesting news. A rumor. Take it with a grain of salt. So, new rumor surfaced online, teasing the notion that publisher Konami might be releasing a bundle for Hideo Kojima's Metal Gear Solid 5 in the near future. So Reddit user Love Deterrence, via NeoGAF, posted a promotional image from Konami's website featuring the Phantom Pain and Ground Zeroes, with the word bundle appearing in the page's URL. The URL is no longer live, with NeoGAF user Hideo, what a great name that is, who originally spotted the image on a Russian website, confirming that the page has since been pulled. And with an update on the story, Konami declined to comment on the news of an MGS5 bundle.
I think it's inevitable. I mean, they always, all game companies do this. Like, Ground Zeroes is the prologue. It's gonna happen, dude. They're gonna, like, bundle it later on in some super-duper package. I'm just saying, if they add more content to it, I'm gonna be pissed, man. Fuck them. If they do it, like, because I'm getting the goddamn collector's edition, alright? So...
Didn't Kojima want to sell it as a bundle?
Yeah, what happened?
Didn't Kojima want to sell Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain as a bundle?
Did he? I don't remember.
I think he pretty much looked like he wanted to do that.
I know he didn't want to separate... When they first announced Ground Zeroes, and then they later on revealed Phantom Pain, I remember people kept telling him, like, oh, do you want to release it? And he's like, I don't know, I'm not sure.
That's a no. Especially after what we know of Kojima, that's a no.
Yeah. So, like, maybe... and then later on he did it, and he said that what was the reason? He said, because I didn't want people to not have anything to play for a while. And I appreciate that, because Ground Zeroes I love to death. I played that game so many times. But, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, man. I think it's pretty much a sure thing at this point.
Yeah, I think you can't avoid Ground Zeroes because it's an important part for the Phantom Pain. It would have made sense, clearly, to bundle them together. This should have been like the same as Dead Rising Case Zero.
Yeah.
For Dead Rising 2, like, it just makes more sense in what it was trying to aim at. And we even had a discussion like last week about standalone versus DLC expansions, and we even brought this game up as well. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I'm expecting that they'll do it after the Phantom Pain is released, maybe a Christmas bundle. That they might do. I don't think they're going to do it beforehand because they've already announced the Day 1 edition and the Collector's edition. If they were going to do a bundle, they would have announced it with that.
Yeah.
I think it's probably likely. I think this is going to be Konami's next step when Kojima's gone. Let's bundle out, make some money on it.
Yeah, sadly, yeah.
yeah, it's inevitable. I can see that happening. But obviously, I think Konami's having a preview event at the minute with press, had the chance to play the game. So we learned a bit more details about the Phantom Pain as well today.
I mean, this is less than as appealing. But it's one thing they could be doing is that maybe when the game comes out, they'll be like, oh, hey, do you want to buy both games? Well, if you buy them together, we'll sell to you at a cheaper price. That's another thing they could be doing.
Maybe.
Yeah. So, I mean...
Phantom Pain would have to drop first in price.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, like, they would sell, what's it called, Ground Zeroes for Phantom Pain for full price, and then have Ground Zeroes at a much cheaper price attached to it. So you have to buy Phantom Pain at full price, but maybe for like $10 more, they'd give you Ground Zeroes as opposed to like, what is it, like 20 now or something?
I mean, it was on sale for $5 last month.
Oh, holy shit! Okay.
Ground Zeroes, it's hard to sell the bundle now when nearly everyone has it.
Yeah, that's
like pretty much everyone's been picking up it's so dirt cheap.
That's very true. Yeah.
But yeah, it does raise serious questions about the entire like situation about Metal Gear Solid 5, because Metal Gear Solid 5 should just be one game. It would have made like it would have made serious sense to be one game.
Yeah, no, definitely. But we'll find out in 4 months.
The thing is that I could own both of these games and I'd buy the bundle. I don't know why. Like I buy everything again. Like I bought like Subsistence on like PS2. I have the Legacy collection. I have the HD collection. I just buy them because Metal Gear.
Same here, dude. Legacy I have. That was when they got the first 3 games, right? And they put them together. No, Legacy was the Ultimate package, right?
Yeah, with MGS 1 through 4.
Yeah, dude, you know what? If they were to release a bundle and it had a bonus content that I didn't have, as much of a sucker as I am, yeah, I'd probably buy it too. But, maybe not at that point. But if it's just literally a bundling of the two, then I'm not going to get it. If it's just both games and they just duct tape the cases together, I'm not going to buy it. I think I'll wait.
Yeah, I agree with that. But we'll see where it goes, man. I mean... Yeah, because they're doing that preview event as well today in Los Angeles, which the Game Headline Show was not invited to. And we feel the salt. We would have sent Chris there playing it. Granted, I would never want to heard from Chris again, but I'm really excited with the news I've heard so far. Obviously, people under embargoes, but really promising. Huge game this year. Expect the spoiler cast will be the ultimate spoiler cast. There'll be like 15 parts. It's going to be.
And then we'll release them all as a bundle later on.
Yeah.
Like...
The Game of Headlines Show bundle.
It'll be free, of course, but, the playlist will be the bundle.
Including it is Drunk Max. The Chris Cortez bundle.
Oh, yeah, the Chris bundle. You'll get the entire Experiment trilogy and the exciting spoiler cast. Which, by the way, if you guys want to see it, it's youtube.com/crhappen. A movie's called Drunk Max. I made it all drunk.
Okay.
Anyway, so we should probably move on to entertainment news.
Yep.
So, we have some entertainment news here. We have movie news and TV news. So, for our movie news, pretty exciting stuff. Marvel Studios has given a synopsis for Captain America Civil War, which is going to be their big, title that's coming out next year for Marvel. And they also have confirmed the cast of the movie. So they've already started principal photography in Atlanta, Georgia. That's where the movie's doing the primary filming. And basically, the film is going to see the return of, Captain America's going to be in it. I'll just say the character names. But Captain America's in it, played by Chris Evans, of course. Tony Stark Iron Man's in it. Black Widow's coming back. The Winter Soldier's coming back. Falcon's coming back. The Vision from Avengers is coming back. Hawkeye, War Machine, and Scarlet Witch. All those characters are going to be the main, characters that they have at the main front. They make it seem. Then, very interesting, they said that Paul Rudd is going to be coming back as Ant-Man. So, following his movie debut, which is in this July of this year, his next appearance will be in Captain America: Civil War. So, very interesting that he's jumping into there. Then also, they're going to introduce Black Panther in this film, who's getting his own movie at some point this year. Emily Van Camp is going to come back and play Sharon Carter from Winter Soldier. And there's a bunch of other villains that they're introducing. Also, this I thought was the biggest news. William Hurt, who was he played the character General Thunderbolt Ross from The Incredible Hulk. He's coming back from the movie.
Ooh.
So this is the first time they've really acknowledged Hulk. Because aside from Bruce Banner, no one from that movie has made an appearance. Like, we haven't seen Liv Tyler in any of the movies, and so this is pretty crazy. They're actually, having him come back as a character for this. And then also Martin Freeman from The Hobbit and a bunch of other things. He's in the movie as well, and they have yet to disclose who he's playing, so kind of leaves a little bit of a mystery. But the synopsis, and by the way, the synopsis has kind of a little bit of spoilers to the Avengers, but maybe not really, so I'll just say it anyway. So the synopsis says, Captain America Civil War picks up where Avengers Age of Ultron left off, as Steve Rogers leads a new team of Avengers in their continued efforts to safeguard humanity. After another international incident involving the Avengers results in collateral damage, political pressure mounts to install a system of accountability and a governing body to determine when to enlist the services of the team. The new status quo fractions the Avengers while they try to protect the world from a new and nefarious villain. So it's kind of weird. This sounds more like an Avengers movie than a Captain America movie, to be quite honest.
Very interesting you said that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it sounds like based on the synopsis. But, which is kind of funny because I really think it shouldn't have been a Captain America movie. I think it should have been called Civil War.
Because I agree with that. 100%.
That was like, I mean, even if you look at the logo, Civil War is the biggest letters. Like there, Captain America's like the subtitle almost.
Or even Marvel's Civil War. They put Marvel before anything, but they could just call it Marvel's Civil War.
Yeah, that would have been perfect. Like, I don't know, kind of a waste for a solo Captain America movie. But supposedly the directors who are the Russo brothers returning from Winter Soldier, supposedly they say no, it's a straight up sequel to Captain America. You know, we very much are aware of that, so don't worry. Like, we're gonna, it's a follow up to Winter Soldier, and I'm like, all right, if you say so, but. I don't know.
You're playing the cards here with two sequels now, because it's going to be a sequel to Avengers Age of Ultron. You can't argue it's a sequel to Captain America's The Winter Soldier, because if people haven't seen Avengers, which some people might not like, you're kind of alienating a large audience that won't know what's going on. So exactly. It is a double sequel in the sense. With the news about the Incredible Hulk thing, I can understand why they're doing that, because they haven't done a Hulk movie yet.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to do one now. And some sense of continuity is better than no continuity, which I always kind of believe. Unless there's some like really bizarre casting, like Katie Holmes switches with in the Christopher Nolan films. But yeah, it seems interesting in what they've shown so far in terms of characters being in it. Very surprised with the Paul Rudd thing, but I think now how quick phases are going for Marvel, they can't really gamble on the film being bad. Because I mean, Paul Rudd could be terrible in that movie. It could bomb. It could be one of the first bombing Marvel films from the cinematic universe.
But it's kind of funny because it works both ways, because maybe he'll work better with an ensemble team.
Very true.
So then, kind of like the Hulk, So then they'll be like, oh, well, screw it. We'll put, instead of having Paul Rudd finish his contract with solo movies, we'll just stick him with other movies. I think that's the beauty of making a universe. You could still have your cake and eat it too, in a way.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Exactly. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, what else is? I mean, there's a lot of details in here, and I mean, when's this film slated for? Because the article's not told me, which is May 6th.
Yeah, next year.
For some reason it's the top. For some reason, but yeah, that. It's just like a lot to like.
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, to swallow, yeah. I mean, Scarlett Johansson should have her own film. Like, I don't know why Black Widow films aren't started yet. I don't know why I keep pushing her in other films. It makes no sense. But yeah, like a very large cast, high-profile, big movie now. A lot of pressure on the Russo brothers.
Yeah. It's almost like it's almost like this is their training wheels for the two-part Avengers,
Yeah, this is definitely. It's a big, big movie. I agree, it should have just been called Civil War. It makes no sense, Captain America Civil War. Yeah, it's so weird when you look at the title. Like, Captain America, it should have been called Civil War, but,
Oh my god, Adnan! You broke the first rule!
Yeah, I break the rule. First
Remember,
rule of Game Headline Show.
no phones. Dun dun. You are sentenced to 20 hours of social marketing. No, I'm kidding. Oh gosh.
But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say there. He's got a good team though. A lot of high profile figures that worked on photography and production design, and even as three-time Oscar nominated costume designer Julianne Mikovsky, who worked on Captain America. So yeah.
Yeah. So it's, dude. I gotta say, I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be basically another giant crossover movie. And I loved Winter Soldier so much, man. And I don't want to spoil it because Adnan has yet to see Avengers: Age of Ultron, so I don't want to spoil it. But I enjoyed the Avengers a lot. It's still my favorite Marvel movie. But Age of Ultron, I like Joss Whedon, but I'm kind of glad the baton's being held off because I don't know. I think the Russo brothers might, at this point in time, be a better fit for it. Not necessarily that Whedon's not a good fit. He made the Avengers, for fuck's sake. But
Very true.
I'm excited about this because this is really going to give us our first taste on how does he work with Robert Downey Jr. and some of the Avengers and stuff. And then when the next one comes out, it's like, whoa, Interesting point of news, though. There is a rumor that supposedly this was going to be Spider-Man's first appearance in the MCU, was in this movie. And he's not listed in the... I highly doubt Martin Freeman is playing him, considering they wanted a 16-year-old. And I'm fairly certain Martin Freeman's not 16. So, kind of interesting that they didn't announce that. So I'd be curious to see when or if that'll be announced.
In the wrong hands, this movie could go wrong in so many ways.
Oh, yeah.
Just like you mentioned Spider-Man, I forgot about that. Like, it's kind of like the clustering of, it's like kind of... do you have a large cake and you try and put a cherry on it, and it could just completely fall off from the cream? It's like that. Like, you need, that is kind of a make or break factor as well, because Spider-Man you really have to handle well because he had no movies, and you're kind of just forcing him into a big movie which is meant to have Captain America and the Civil War the main focus.
Yeah.
So I wonder how they're going to handle that, because that's going to be a huge thing for critics. They'll point that out in a heartbeat. It'll be like that. He's not in it. What's the point of even having Spider-Man if you're not going to develop on him?
My personal feeling is it's going to be a post-credit scene. That's what I think.
Yeah.
That he's going to make a quick cameo in just a post-credit scene, and it's not going to be anything major. And then, you'll get him, in the Spider-Man movie fully. And then I'm sure he'll probably make another appearance after that. They'd be crazy not to put him in an Avengers movie. They really would, considering he's an Avenger in the comics. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. But all right, we'll probably move on now to the TV news. So last piece of news, TV related. This is something I know Adam and I were really happy about. So ABC and Marvel, first of all, confirmed that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is coming back for a season 3, but they also confirmed that Agent Carter is coming back for a season 2, which so happy about that, because I remember I was talking to Ad and I was like, dude, you know what? Like, I really like Agent Carter better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm kind of sad that it's going away and it may never come back, and it had such a sad kind of ending, but it felt fitting at the same time. So happy they did it, and actually surprising too, dude, because the ratings weren't that good. They were lower than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So I'm happy, but happy in a good way. Surprised in a good way. But anyway, basically they released a synopsis for season 2, and this is what they had to say. So they said, Marvel's Agent Carter returns for a second season of adventure and intrigue, starring Haley Atwell in the I can't say that word, in the main role of the unstoppable secret agent for the SSR. Dedicated to the fight against new atomic age threats in the wake of World War II, Peggy must now journey from New York City to Los Angeles for her most dangerous assignment yet. But even as she discovers new friends, a new home, and perhaps even a new love, she's about to find out that the bright lights of the post-war Hollywood mask a more sinister threat to everyone she's sworn to protect. So, really interesting. They're moving it to L.A. because New York was like a big theme in the first Captain America movie and in the Agent Carter season 1. So to put them away from that, that's really intriguing. And the article that this is from makes a really good point that it's going to be interesting to see how or if they're able to kind of put some of those characters from season 1 into season 2, considering that they're all situated in New York. So moving to LA, that's going to change things up.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe some fresh faces they're looking for, an angle.
Yeah.
We don't know that much details. I wish this was a Netflix show.
Yeah.
Like Daredevil. It makes more sense to be like Netflix. I'm actually more happy with the fact that they renewed it because Agent Carter was probably the best Marvel TV show, close with Daredevil. I think that is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. It's kind of weird that they're moving from point A to point B now. So what does it do for everything else?
Yeah, and also another interesting point that the article makes, Dominic Cooper, who plays young Howard Stark, he was a recurring guest star in season 1. He's actually now the lead actor in AMC's Preacher. So he's going to be leading a TV show. So his schedule is probably going to be pretty packed. So they're theorizing, he may not necessarily appear in season 2, or if he does, it would be probably like a guest appearance for an episode.
Yeah, I think they're going to sideline Howard Stark now.
Yeah.
There's more to Agent Carter than Howard Stark as a character piece, and should really focus more on Peggy and everything else.
Yeah.
I think they really need to kind of play more on the Captain America role now with Peggy, because the season 1 kind of touched on the after effects of what happened from the movie. Now it's kind of moving a little bit forward in the timeline. Now it needs to really kind of ground in the fact that she needs to go on not necessarily she needs to go on a date and show us what that kind of episode would be like. That she's trying to move away from Captain Rogers, and then kind of how that hits back home. So I wish they'd do that more in the relationship and building that. But honestly, dude, I'm fucking excited. Really, really excited for a second season. And a really good find in terms of like what it's telling us. It's going to be. I hope they bring the Black Widow character back for this one. What's she called? Dolly or something.
Oh right, her the Black Widow trained character that they kind of that was really cool because they gave you like a history. And dude, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but when you watch Age of Ultron, I feel like they kind of like allude to that a little bit.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's really cool. It makes it feel all connected, which is I feel how these the whole universe should be. That's what they promised us. But yeah, dude, I was pretty much like, well, it's dead. That's it. So I'm really happy that it's like, and it just makes it all the more exciting that tonight is the season finale, actually. Season 2 of S.H.I.E.L.D., Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is one of those things where I'm like, that show got really good during season 2, and it's a shame a lot of people wrote it off, because I really feel like a lot of the things people complained about from the first season, they fixed. And I think I had to, tip my hat off to Marvel for doing that, because, it's hard to kind of like look at yourself and be like, well, we messed up. You know what I mean? And then go and do that and fix it and stuff. And I'll
tell you, I tell you what I've written off already. Gotham, that finished 2 weeks ago.
Oh, Gotham? Oh, I just still laugh at the when he ate the sandwich.
Dude, man's got to eat.
That was the point where I'm like, I don't know if I could really watch the show. Again, no offense to anyone who watches Gotham. That's awesome. If you guys like it, all the better. Watch it, enjoy it. Enjoy what you like, man. At the end of the day, that's how it should be. But I just could not get into it. I just really didn't like. It's terrible. Like it's true. Like that's
so bad. Like, do you when you let someone go crapping on your project that you worked really hard? It's like that. It's nowhere near in the league of Agent Carter. Like Agent Carter, the episodes were so straight on point. Like some of them were filler and kind of a little bit slow paced, but each episode was kind of keeping you enticed about the universe, the interest, and again, the main focus of a show like Agent Carter is a character piece.
Mm-hmm.
But with that said, I think that's even a criticism of it, because I don't think they really emphasized the character piece of Peggy Carter. Because Captain America should be more of a reoccurring theme than he was. Like, yeah, Steve Rogers' blood there, whatever. Like, put more kind of emphasis on the character, the relationship, what she thinks of him, how she sees him now. Like, they even keep doing it as well, like Jim, with the radio interview, with the radio plays that they're doing, that guy doing the Captain America voice.
That was great, by the way.
Yeah, like that. I still think they didn't really build into that much. Like, there were points when she talks about it, but I think they should kind of built more around it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with Peggy, like hearing it more and kind of thinking about Steve and just like other things like that. I think that's a huge part of the Carter's arc, Steve Rogers. So hopefully they build on it. I think even maybe that change in location might make sense if she's trying to get away from Steve and kind of like running away from the past.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, it's possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that would be an interesting. Yeah, that would be super interesting for whatever they choose to do. Like, if they do follow that through in season 2, because I agree, dude. Like that's something that was kind of they kicked around a lot, like a little bit of it in season 1, like what you said with the radio show and the blood and stuff. But like, he's such a big part. At the same time, though, I feel like you can't be cheap and try to root it too much in that. Like, because it's almost like a way of attracting people to, like, watching it. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, oh, look, check it out, So, like Captain America, remember him? Remember her? But at the same time, it is very much a big foundation of her. But I like the idea that she's going to get a new love interest, supposedly, because then they could really kick Steve,
Yeah, that's where you really kick in. I mean, like, even that emotional scene at the end of the first season where she throws blood into the river.
Oh, God, gutted me, man. Yeah. Yeah,
that's like the last remaining identity of Steve. Like, that's the last thing that she'll ever kind of be close to that character or that person.
Yeah.
They really kind of, like, hit that on the nail. I mean, I hope Jarvis comes back. The Jarvis?
Yeah, Jarvis. I hope so, too, man. He was really great. I love how that was the original Jarvis. So you kind of see where he has to be alive, during this time, because obviously he has to live long enough to be an old man and meet Tony. So that'll be pretty cool.
That will be. I think that's something that people really want to see. How they build that character, like the robot and the actual thing. But they really did nail that casting really well.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed that one. And he kind of wasn't that character that's just there for the sake of it. It was just perfect. But honestly, real big hopes. Agent Carter, fantastic news. I mean, the other disappointing news was that Constantine was cancelled whilst this was renewed.
Yeah, it was.
And people love Constantine, from what I've heard.
Yeah, man, it was like there was a big. From what I understand, it was a miracle that Constantine made it through to an entire full season, because that show was like on the bubble since episode 1. So I think it's kind of gracious that they at least, gave the full season, but it sucks for the fans, man. I've been there. I've had a show of mine that I loved get canceled, and it's hard, man. It's like a friend dying. It literally is like that. You get so invested in those characters, so.
You need to. I think it's going to wait until these DC and Marvel realize it's just all about Netflix now. Fuck TV. No one cares. Like, honestly, if you're still watching TV and not caring about Netflix as a TV model, that's the future. Mm-hmm. But I don't think I've watched TV seriously, like a new episode of any show, since. Let me have a quick think off the top of my head. The last time I watched a live premiere of a TV show was Misfits, season 1, and that was, Jesus Christ, let me have a quick look at that. That was a long, long time ago. It was Misfits season 2. I watched the premiere episode they did on TV. 2010.
Wow.
That's the last time I actually sit down to watch a new episode of a TV show.
Wow.
And granted, that's a UK show as well. And maybe, obviously, and Sherlock, but I mean, Sherlock's a bit of a different kind of entity because it's built differently compared to Misfits and other shows. Mm-hmm. But that's like the last series time I actually. Oh wait, I actually watched Sherlock and iPlayer. Fuck that, doesn't count. And BBC is a different model anyway because they don't care about ratings. They're state funded TV network and everything else. But out of that, like the main TV show, Channel 4, Misfits. That's the last time I sat down and watched a TV premiere. But
Yeah.
it makes sense though because like I'm in the UK and Hannibal, for example, which comes out next month, and I'm fucking excited for. That premieres in the US. I think we're normally like 2 or 3 episodes behind. Same with like Game of Thrones.
Hmm.
I'm just there like I live in the day and age of internet. You really expect me to sit down on Sky Atlantic where there's like 15 adverts in the entire show and sit down and watch this? No, thank you.
Yeah.
It's just Netflix works well, and it works well as a system. It's just going to grow, and it's going to when Marvel literally shifts more TV shows than that. I bet you it's going to be the next era, and
Hmm.
Carter should be on there as well.
Yeah. I think so.
Just Carter didn't do that well in the ratings. It was struggling a lot of it. Same with Hannibal. Hannibal struggles on NBC. And it's got and obviously it's premiering the summer now to get on prime time.
Right.
But the TV is hard though because ratings only equate to certain shows. Like The Walking Dead is based on ratings,
Hmm.
and obviously crap TV like American Idol, which has just been cancelled, funnily enough, and the X Factor and stuff like that. That's built on ratings. They are more important. But if you aren't getting ratings for something like Agent Carter, you're doing something wrong, and you need to look at a different system. And that's where TV networks just don't get it.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think it's also, dude, a pretty big deal that Carter got renewed. If we're
Yeah,
going to talk about ratings for a sec, because Agent Carter, dude, it did bad. I mean, Agents of Shield is doing bad in ratings. Carter did even worse. So the
exactly.
fact that they renewed it could be a number of things. They could also be looking at how the show was viewed digitally. Like I know the show was watched a lot on like what is it like when you subscribe to a network now, you could access like on-demand content and stuff like that. I know that was watched a lot. Some people saw the DVR stuff, so I think they're factoring that in as well. Like now, people are saying, "Well, I mean, it didn't do well here, but how did it do on the internet? How did it do on demand? How did it do on DVR?" I think more than ever, they're factoring that in, and I think Carter is definitely, I think, the first big time
Well,
that they had done
Mike,
that.
I mean, continue this argument. We'll shift in a minute because I think we're going too long. One of the things is that, like the Netflix model, here's a better system. Gotham, like you said, what you watched was it the one episode where he eats a sandwich
Hmm.
and like fucks off out of the river. That if every episode of Gotham was on Netflix, do you not think you'd want to watch a bit more? Because I think as personally kind of a perspective of like what you did, you saw one episode and you have to wait a week for another one, and you're like, meh, I don't give a shit. But if you had another episode, you'd be like, I'll sit down and watch the next episode.
I think, in general, yes, but in that particular case, dude, there'd already like 4 episodes. So
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I saw
Fair
the,
enough.
but I see where you're going, and I don't want to derail it. I agree with you. I think in general, yeah, like if a person because dude, like look at Daredevil for example. The first episode, the first 5 minutes was dog shit, horrible first episode in my opinion. But the second episode and beyond, excellent fucking show. And I think if you have that Netflix, to me, Netflix is the future. It kind of
Agreed.
sucks though because there's a big wait. It's almost like getting a movie because
Yeah.
now we have to wait until 2016 for Daredevil to come back for season 2, and that's because they got to make them. And it was like a surprise. They didn't think it was going to be that successful, and it was that successful. And then they went off and did that.
But
So
oh, sorry. I mean, like, but don't you feel satisfied though when you could go on that binge?
dude, of course. I mean,
Like,
Rebecca
for me-
and I went crazy with that, and it was great. I had a blast.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's the kind of thing that satisfies me. I can wait 2 years now. Like, every week I'm watching Hannibal, I'm like, oh my fucking god, it's killing me. Just give me the next episode. I watch every episode of Hannibal. And if I had in like the kind of Netflix batch, I'd enjoy it and then be like, you know what, they've got 2 years to make another Hannibal. I can wait. And then in this meantime, I can go back on Netflix and watch Hannibal. But that's what kind of like I like about the system, because even though you can binge 13 episodes like I did on Daredevil, I did it obviously over a couple of days. It's more satisfying because I'm like, as you said, it's kind of a long movie, but it still feels like a TV show. And I got that kind of feeling there, and I got to the end, I was like, you know what? Can't wait for season 2. Really excited for that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I did like I was like, this is good stuff. I like it. But dude, I agree with you. I think maybe we should go ahead and move on, because I think we could continue, just as I could talk for like 3 hours on Sega Saturn. I think you and I could talk about like Marvel MCU on TV and how good and bad it is at the same time. But we're gonna go ahead and go into our kind of like our main segment, our topic of the week. I think is a more apt title.